begin in the nation's capital, where President Muhammadu Buhari has presented a record 2023 budget of 20.51 trillion naira to the National Assembly. This is the last budget to be passed by the president before the end of his tenure next year. Before the president's speech, President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, commended President Buhari for being consistent in presenting the budget in the last 3 years. He also urged that the 2023 budget should focus on completing infrastructure already started. In his address, President Buhari assured that his administration is committed to ensuring lives and properties of citizens are safe. He also appealed to the Academic Staff Union of Universities to call off the strike, as government alone cannot fund education.
The eighth and final budget presentation by President Muhammadu Buhari as his administration winds down in another 7 months. The President of the Senate commends both arms of government for the return of the budget cycle to between January and December in the last 3 years. Ahmad Lawan and Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila acknowledged the trouble with the nation's economy arising from dearth of revenue, but the massive stealing of crude, which has impacted negatively on the nation's economy, leaves much to be desired. They insist crude thieves are enemies of the country and should be treated as such.
The thieves have declared war on our country and our people. I strongly feel that we need to take the necessary measures to stop the thieves immediately. Otherwise, our economy will be completely devastated. Also, our efforts to provide the necessary infrastructure and diversification of the economy would both be thwarted. It is time to take drastic and desperate measures against the thieves.
It is the sense of the House of Representatives that those engaged in these activities are agents of economic sabotage, determined to bring our country to its knees. Therefore, our position is that their actions constitute treason against our country, for which they and their enablers, whoever they may be, must be held accountable to the fullest extent permitted by law.
For 55 minutes, President Muhammadu Buhari takes a prospective look at the efforts of his government at reshaping the country with the current budget, as well as projections for the coming year. Transformational investments in infrastructure tops the list of his administration's achievements. The president says a challenging global economy, high inflation, high crude oil prices, and Russia-Ukraine war have contributed to the nation's troubled economy. Nevertheless, he says government is determined to shore up its revenue from taxation and the internally generated revenues of MDAs.
Our interventions and reflationary measures have been very effective and impactful. We must, however, continue to work towards achieving much higher levels of growth, especially given our high population growth rate, so that the average Nigerian can truly feel the impact of planned economic growth.
The parameters for the proposed budget include oil price benchmark of $70 per barrel of crude, daily oil production at 1.69 million barrels per day, inclusive of condensates of 300,000 to 400,000 barrels per day, exchange rate of 435.51 Naira to US dollar, and a projected GDP growth rate of 3.75% and 17.16% inflation rate. The president also touched on the current ASUU strike and renews his appeal to university teachers to return to class. He says education cannot be solely funded by the government.
In the determined effort to resolve the issue, we have provided a total of 470 billion naira in the 2023 budget from our constrained resources for revitalization and salary enhancements in the tertiary institutions.
As he makes his last budget presentation before the joint session of the 9th National Assembly, President Muhammadu Buhari is optimistic of a better Nigeria. Despite the current challenges, he appreciates the contributions of the media and the civil society community to the nation's growth. Joke Edsa, TVC News, Abuja.
Also in Abuja, the Court of Appeal has granted the Academic Staff Union of Universities conditional leave to appeal the ruling of the National Industrial Court on 21st of September, ordering lecturers to go back to the classroom. Justice Hamad Barka, who led the three-man panel, granted leave on the condition that ASUU must obey the order of the interlocutory injunction by the lower court immediately. A member of the panel, Justice Biobele Georgewell, also ordered that the leave granted can only stand if ASUU obeys the interlocutory order of the lower court. Justice Georgewell also stated that in a situation where the orders of the lower court aren't obeyed, the court will withdraw the leave granted ASUU to appeal the interlocutory injunction orders by the NIC. ASUU has been given 7 days to file its appeal and immediately obey the orders of the lower court. Meanwhile, the lingering crisis between the ASUU, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, and the federal government may soon come to an end as the Christ Living Spring Apostolic Ministry is set to set up a back-to-school intervention fund to address it. Senior correspondent Ivy Kano reports on this.
It's been months of back and forth between the federal government of Nigeria and the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Worst hit are students, by extension, their parents, and guardians who have continued to suffer the effect of the unresolved crisis. At this conference, Pastor Wole Oladiyan says as a stakeholder, it's time the education sector is rescued from what he describes as a state of hopelessness.
The question is, for how long should we allow our youths to rot away at home? For how long shall we fold our hands and allow the system to oppress the students? Enough is enough. The youths are hungry and angry. By the time they rise up against us, nobody will be able to ride SUV or live peaceably in the society. We have decided to pioneer the setting of the back-to-school intervention fund as a way of complementing government's efforts. The funds will not be warehoused by CLAM, no, not at all. I will not be a signatory, not at all.
But how will funds raised for this purpose be managed?
A dedicated account to be agreed upon by the trustees of the fund will be opened. Also, the modalities for the administration and disbursement of the fund will be collectively agreed upon by the fund managers, who will be reputable individuals and organizations in the country. We are still consulting and fine-tuning the operational modalities. We are going to discuss with some audit firms, Akintola Williams, 1, 2. We're going to discuss with KPMG, 3. We're going to discuss with PwC, Pricewaterhouse, so that they can be exclusively in charge. And when everything is done, we will not call the federal government. We love this nation.
He called on churches, corporate institutions, Nigerians in diaspora, and others to key into the initiative and save the country. Ivy Kano, TVC News, Lagos.
Let's turn our attention to political matters, where 121 pan-Yoruba groups have endorsed the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. The event, organized by the Alliance of Yoruba Democratic Movement, has no fewer than 1,500 delegates representing various groups endorsed the former Lagos State Governor. They said the February 2023 elections will again put the country to a historic test, where the people will go to the polls to choose a president that will steer the affairs of Africa's most populous country. The group promised to campaign vigorously using all means of mass communications to see the victory of Asiwaju Tinubu to ensure automatic transformation of Nigeria.
It is only important for us to gather and reason together to find a common ground, more so when the outcome of the forthcoming general elections remain utterly unpredictable.
In the coming to this conclusion, we have considered many factors. First is the capacity and political sagacity of the candidates, the rich history in anti-fascist campaign of 1980 through the 1990s, the possession of raw courage, liberal investment in pro-democracy struggle, the ability to transform and re-engineer the current APC as a political party, likely to provide the impetus that will lead the restructuring of Nigeria.
The next thing right now is to sensitize our people, to make sure we bring them out on the election day. We know the history in Lagos. As of today, Lagos have the highest number of people that collected their voting, their PVC. But on the election day, they are nowhere to be found. Campaign is about to start. We're going to go around. We're going to talk. We're going to let people know who Asiwaju is.
An APC chieftain and also the special advisor to Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu on drainages and water resources, Joe Igbokwe, have joined other stakeholders to task youths of ethnic groups within the Lagos APC to deliver at least 30 million votes for Asiwaju Bola Tinubu in the 2023 presidential election. Eminent leaders of ethnic nationalities represented at the forum from the South, North Central, Southeast and other regions who spoke about Asiwaju's contribution to human capital development say they will go the whole pole to actualize his ambition. Mr. Igbokwe gave a trajectory of Asiwaju's uncanny ability which sets him apart from other contenders. APC ethnic president in Lagos, Leo Obasi, urged people of other ethnic regions living in Lagos to support those that have made the state comfortable for them, especially Asiwaju Bola Tinubu.
Asiwaju cares. Asiwaju is dependable. Asiwaju knows where he is going. Asiwaju stands for something. Asiwaju can be trusted. These are the 5 key things you need in a man.
We want to bring young people across the country who are from different ethnics to come together and form a formidable team to tell and preach the gospel of our party and what we do, and to let them know that in the history of Nigeria, this is the only party and this is the only government that has the capacity of bringing young people together, of bringing people of different ethnic groups together.
Most of us that are not in our aborigine, we've been able to practice politics as if we are in our hometown because of this one man. So this is a payback time. This is a time we will show him love.
We decided to throw our weight behind our Excellency Leader Honorable Asiwaju Bola Tinubu because of his capacity, his ability to be more progressive and more insightful.
All our support is for Ahmad Bola Tinubu. Asiwaju is our own, and it's always our own. And that is the only person and the only name we know when it comes to the 2023 election.